Hi, Chess Gist here. Welcome to my channel. Today we'll be looking at the French defense against the King One opening played by Garry Kasparov against Mr. Korchnoi of blessed memory. Garry Kasparov at this point was rated 2,838 compared to Mr. Korchnoi of 2,639. So Kasparov was 200 elo points higher than Mr. Korchnoi of blessed memory. This game was played in 2001. So you have the normal E4, E6, then D4 by white, and E5 by black, knight C3, and knight F6, bishop to G5 by Garry Kasparov, entering what is called the Steiner's variation, and the bishop to E7 by black, then the classical variation of the Steiner's variation, and eventually Kasparov played E5. So this is all, the normal main line of the standard variation or the classical variation of the French defense, and Garry Kasparov entered what is called the Alekhine-Chatard attack, where he was to eventually open the H file to attack the king side, the black king side. And here the bishop was exchanged. Now he gambited the H pawn, and Korchnoi accepted the gambit. Kasparov played his queen to D3, thereby also double attacking the H7 pawn. The H7 pawn. Now Kasparov developed by black developed attacking by placing his queen on C6, attacking the D4 pawn that is already defended by the queen, and here we have Kasparov developing his knight as well, protecting the pawn, but this time attacking the queen. So that's the idea of the game. That's the strategy of the Alekhine-Chatard attack, and also became the Alekhine-Chatard gambit because Korchnoi accepted the pawn on the H pawn that captured the bishop on G5. So here, the white pieces is being developed around the queen. So the queen moved, protecting his H7 pawn and initiating an exchange, which Kasparov accepted by playing the exchange on queen to G6. And notice that the pawn on H7 cannot capture the white queen, otherwise the rook will be hanging. So Kasparov, Victor Korchnoi, of course, captured with the F7 pawn. And here we see Kasparov attacking the C7 pawn by placing his knight on B5, which would eventually double attack both the king and the bishop if he should capture the pawn. So the question now is, what is Victor Korchnoi going to do? Is he going to protect the pawn by moving to D8 or moving to E7? By moving the king to D8 or the king to E7 on the other square. So Victor Korchnoi, of course, moved his king to E7, king to E7, because if he had gone to king to D8, then the knight on F3 can also jump to the G5 square, and the F7 square, and at the same time checking the king and also double attacking the rook. So you can see that Korchnoi doesn't want this, so he left the C7 pawn, and now Garry Kasparov captured the C7 pawn, now ending up with a balanced pawn number for both black and white. So his gambited pawn has been captured and replaced. So now you have equal pawn numbers, and of course the knight is still attacking the rook. The rook immediately lefty attacked the square, and Garry Kasparov has to move his knight immediately, otherwise it will be trapped with the pawn moved to A6. The knight moved away, probably eyeing the D6 square, or at the same time, thinking of moving also the black-white bishop become developed on d7, and white also developed his white bishop on d3. And here we see the knight on c6 going to a5, attacking the c4 square, and with a potential attack on the b2 square if it could get to the c4 square. Kasparov prevented that entry, and now you have the bishop also attacking the bishop also the knight. So bishop captured the knight, bishop captured the white knight, and of course bishop captured bishop. And the idea of the accepting the Garry pawn, that's the Alekhine-Chatard Garry pawn, the idea of accepting it was to hopefully have a passport on the king's side, and moving the bishop from this diagonal allowed the pawn push and preparation of the pawns on the king's side. But then, of course, we have the knight attacking the undefended pawn, and here you see the king. You see the knight attacking the undefended pawn with the potential check threat on the black king, and of course you see the black rook also coming from h7 to c8, attacking the c3 pawn, and also coming to the third rank into the white territory. And of course Garry Kasparov playing white also won that, so he protected the pawn, he's prevented the entry of the rook. And now the attack by the white knight on h4 still remains against the black on g6, and the white protected the pawn by using the moving forward to attack the knight. The knight jumps into the g6 square and checks the king. Notice that the knight do not have any exit square that is free of attack. All squares the knight could jump to after this check were attacked by either the black pawn or the black rook. And so Korchnoi attacked the knight, knowing fully that it is trapped. But of course Garry Kasparov was playing, so he also noticed that his knight was trapped, but he had his own plan. He checked the king, and the king captured the knight. And after this capture, this led to an eventual checkmate. And at this point, all forced. So first, we have the bishop returning to d3, checking the king, and then the king moved to the only square possible, which was king to h5. And then there's a check on the king, and the king moved to the only square possible, which was king to g4. So now the black king is on a journey into the white territory. And here you also have f3 check, and the king moved to the only square, which was f4. And then the white king moved to f2, protecting its pawn because he wanted to do a pawn toss. He wanted to storm the black king with pawn checks, and he needed to protect those the f3 pawn. And here black thought it could create a small escape hedge, but the game was already over. And you see, because now at this point with the g3 check, actually Victor Korchnoi resigned, because after that the king moves to the only square, g5, then you have the f4 check mate. So yeah, this is the game that Garry Kasparov won using the French. Garry Kasparov won against the French defense, and I hope that you will play this someday, especially in a Blitz game of 1 minute, 3 minutes, and you would for sure win, having analyzed this position. Okay, so thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe for my next video. I'll be putting a lot of videos up like this from past grandmasters. we can analyze together. You can also send in your comments, or if you want any video analyzed, if you want any game analyzed, just send it to me. Thank you for watching, and see you in my next video.